Hello and welcome back to the Empower Hour podcast. Now, today's podcast is going to be a little bit different, and that is because recently I've been called to use my oracle cards more and just to use these as a guide for the podcast episode. So today we are going to give it a go. I don't know what the topic of this podcast is going to be. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just going to be guided by these. So these are my oracle cards. These are the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light oracle cards. They are beautiful cards, and it is something that I use quite often in terms of my meditations for guidance. I use them most mornings, and yeah, for some reason I've been pulled to use them for a podcast episode. So whatever comes out, I'm assuming is going to be for somebody listening to this podcast. So I'm just going to tune in. I'm going to pull out a card. I've got my candle. I've randomly picked a crystal as well, which was calling to me to pop by my candle. And I've also got my soul truth card, which we might be using at the end as a little bit of a question to end the podcast on, and a little bit of a journal prompt for you to go away and have a think about today. So we're going to get started just by shuffling these cards, and I'm going to pull one at random. If I'm called to pull more than one, then I will. But let's just start with one card. So I'm just going to spread them out and choose whichever one I'm drawn to, which today is this card here. So let's see what this says. So this card that I have been drawn to today is take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So I don't know whether you can see this card, but these cards all have a picture on them and then a little bit of writing at the bottom. And this is the one that for some reason I've been drawn to today. Now, I personally can take message from this because what I tend to do is run and then burn out. And it's something that I used to really struggle with. It's something I'm getting better at now. I do put it down to possible ADHD, kind of that feeling of having to run. It's only when you stop you realize how exhausted you are, which actually thinking about it is something that came up for me only a couple of weeks ago. I felt really burnt out, and it's only because I was forced to stop and process things and process emotions through losing my nan that actually it allowed me to kind of stop running on this treadmill. So what I'm taking from this today, and what I think today's episode is now going to be about, is about learning to stop, learning to take that break, and realizing that actually sometimes stopping is the thing that's going to catapult you forward. So often we think about stopping as something that is bad, something that we shouldn't do, because if we stop, then our progress is going to stop. Then that dream of starting our own business, that dream of leaving the rat race, of leaving the job, of being able to truly work for yourself and live on your own terms, whatever that might look like for you, we think that if we stop, then we're no longer working towards that dream. Then actually it can't mean that much to us if we're stopping, right? But sometimes when we stop, and a lot of the time when we stop, that's when our best stuff happens. Because number one, we're allowing ourselves that time to switch off or switch on to something else, which is something that I always talk about. Is sometimes it's not about switching off and sitting there and monging out or doing nothing, because actually as creative types, as somebody that is spiritually aware, someone that is tuned into the universe, someone that is tuned into their creativity, and you listen to this might be the same. Actually, we can't stop. We can't just sit there and do nothing. We can't just completely tune out and switch our brains off, because it's not something that is natural for us. It's not something that we can do. But actually what we can do is switch on to something else. And it's when we switch on to something else, whether that be going for a walk, whether that be taking a day out and doing something for you, purely for joy, purely for happiness, not for an end result, whether that be switching on to doing like a favorite thing of yours. Let's say you're really into drawing and you've not drawn for months, right? Switching your brain on to something creative like that is also switching off. But it's not the switching off that is normally spoken about, because normally when we think about switching off, it's normally to do with sitting there doing nothing, or thinking about nothing, or trying to meditate and think about nothing, right? rather than switching your brain on to something that gives you that sense of joy, sense of happiness, purely for fun, not for any other reason, not because it means that you can tick it off your to-do list, not because it means that you might learn something that's related to business, right? Purely just for you. So when I'm talking about taking a break today, I want you to think about it in terms of what can I switch on to if you're someone that really struggles to just switch off, right? Because like I said, I also struggle to just switch off. It's just something that does not come naturally to me. And actually, I find that I'm 10 times worse if I sit and do nothing. I need to switch my brain on to something else that brings me happiness, that brings me joy, that brings me fulfillment, that brings me fun, that makes me laugh, rather than just switch off. And today's episode probably is going to be a little bit rambly because when I do these episodes where I just pull a card, it is going to be rambly because there is no structure and it is just what's coming to me when I think about this and when I think about the card and when I tune in. So just bear in mind that with these episodes, if we continue to do ones where I feel the need to just pull a card and talk, then they are going to be rambly episodes, all right? So we've established that actually what we need to do is rather than switch off, we need to switch on to something else. But also when we switch off, right, I want you to think about when you're in the shower or when you go for a walk or when you're not even thinking about trying to come up with ideas for the business or trying to come up with a solution for something that needs sorting at work. That's when those solutions, that's when those ideas come to you, when you're not even thinking about them. It's why we get so many random ideas when we're in the shower or on a walk, because you're allowing yourself that time to really listen to what's going on in your head, because subconsciously you know the solution, you know the idea, you know what you need to do to move forward, but you don't give yourself the chance to sit and tune in and listen to it. So when we take a break, not only does it allow ourselves to tune into something else that's going to bring us joy and happiness and fulfillment, it allows you to receive those downloads and allows you to receive those ideas, but also by taking that break and releasing that control, you actually allow yourself the opportunity to lean back and let the universe lead, to trust in that perfect timing, to trust in that path that you're already on, right? You trust in that fact that actually whatever's going to happen for me will happen in perfect timing. And it's a key part of manifestation as well, is to lean back and trust the timing and trust the way that things will work for you. And when I say manifestation, I don't just mean, writing down what you want in life and sticking it under your pillow and going to sleep and hoping it will all work, because the way I view manifestation is not like that. Like, that's not how I see manifestation working. You still have to put the work in, but also a key part of it for me is learning to let go. Because you might have this manifestation, this idea that you have in your head right now of how you want your life to look, right? But if you are so tightly holding on to how that's going to happen, what it's going to look like, when it's going to happen, what's going to need to happen in order for that final thing to happen, right? You're holding on to that control so tightly, you're not allowing the universe to, shift and change and do the things that you need to do to push you on that path. So when you learn to take that break, when you learn to get off the treadmill, as this card is saying today, you're also letting the universe come in and go, okay, right, let's steer you in this direction. Let's put you on that path. This situation didn't work out, but actually there's a reason this situation didn't work out. And it's because it's going to open this door, which is going to lead to this door, which is going to lead to this door, right? Think about, things that happened to you 6 months to a year ago, to 2 years ago, to 3 years ago. Had you not gone through that, had that situation not happened to you, you would not be in the job you're in now, with the person you're in now, where you live right now. Like, your life would look completely different. But at the time, it could be that was the worst thing that would have ever happened to you, right? Like, when I think about previous relationships of mine, when I broke up with the person that I was with for 5 years, at the time, I was like, shit, what am I going to do? Like, this is kind of all I've known for my adult life. I live with this person. I moved to a different county with this person. I've now got to move back up to Leicester. Like, it felt like everything was going wrong. I had to find a new job. But actually, when I look at it now, it's the best thing that I could have ever done was to finish that relationship. Best thing for me and the best thing for him. Because now he's managed to, move on and find the person that's right for him. I've managed to move on. I've managed to realize who I am. I've managed to have that courage to come out as gay and be with a woman that makes me so happy, it's unreal. But had I not gone through that situation and realized that actually life's too short and you need to be happy with who you're with and you need to be happy with who you are, and for me that meant coming out to family and to myself, then I wouldn't be living the life I'm living now, right? And you know, it's the same with you. Like, if you'd not gone through the situations that you'd gone through, you wouldn't be where you are now. Today, I was speaking to somebody who had recently been made redundant, and at the time, they were like, "This, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I've been made redundant. I'm stuck. What am I going to do job-wise? I've been in this job for years. I don't know where else to go." And we sat and we had a conversation, and they are a client of mine, and I said, you've always wanted to work for yourself full time. You've always wanted to commit to being able to work for yourself full time, but you've not been able to because you've had the security of a permanent job, right? You've had that security of the money coming in. What if this is actually the catalyst for you to be able to make that change? What if actually the universe has done this for you to be made redundant so that you get that redundancy payout? So that then gives you 6 months to a year of stable finances because you've got that redundancy payout to commit to the business, to see if you can make it work for 6 months to a year, right? Because let's say worst case scenario, it doesn't work out in that 6 months to a year. You would have made so much progress towards it, but you can get another job. You can apply for other jobs, but you've got that protection to be able to try the business full time for 6 to 12 months. And if you do need to then go and get another job, cool, you've had a year to work on the business. You can still do that in the background. You can still do that as your side hustle and build it up. And we will build that up together whilst you're still working, you know, part-time or full-time if you need to. Okay. And what we realized was that actually, you know, with this redundancy, yes, it could seem like the worst thing in the world, but actually, if she's just stopped and thought about it for a second, it could be that the universe is pushing her on that path because it allows her to have that financial stability without needing to go to full-time work straight away. So she can work on the business, so she can work towards that dream of being able to live the life that she wants to live, where she hasn't got to work out how much annual leave she's got left so she can go and see her daughter's school play. So I want you to have a think about, and I know we've kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent with this card, but have a think about what situations in life have happened to you that actually, when you think about it, haven't happened to you, they've happened for you. Because with hindsight, when you look at it now, you go, oh my God, if that hadn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened, and look where I am now. And you can even use that as a journal prompt at the end of this podcast. You know, if you are sat listening to this, then by all means, you know, pause the podcast and write on it now, like journal on it now. If you're listening to this in the car or on a walk, then write a note when you get home to think about, right, what's happened to me that actually has been a catalyst for me, that's been the best thing that could have happened, even though at the time it felt like the worst. And you will be amazed at the amount of things that at the time felt like the worst thing in the world, but actually have allowed you to do X, Y, and Z. So today, I want you to take away the message of taking a break, stopping running on the treadmill, stopping running the rat race, and stopping that tight control that you feel like you need to have over how things work right now could be the best thing that you do. And for some reason, this card fell out because this is a card and a message that somebody needed to hear. And if that's you, then I really hope that this episode has resonated with you. And if it has, and you want to give me any feedback in terms of how it's resonated, then by all means, just pop me a DM on Instagram at Collective Health UK, or you can even pop it in the comments, because if you didn't know, we're also on YouTube. So you are able to watch this on YouTube as well as listen to it on Spotify and Apple. So if that does resonate with you, then I am so glad that this has landed in your ears today, because maybe it's something you needed to hear. I know it's something that I needed to hear a few weeks ago, a month ago, and sometimes life has a way of making you stop to reflect and to think about, you know, how you want to move forward. And maybe today, this episode is the thing that makes you stop and think about releasing that control, allowing the universe to take it on the path that they need to take it on. Because stopping and releasing that control doesn't mean you don't care, doesn't mean you're not motivated to work towards that goal. But when you do take that time, you come back so much more energized, you have more ideas, you have more excitement. So that is today's card, which was take a break. And then I'm also going to pull out one of these soul truth cards. Now, I love these soul truth cards because they have a bit of a question on the front, and then they have some like journal stuff on the back as well. So these are a great one to use. So I'm going to just pull it out at random. There's loads of these, but I'm going to pull out this one. So this one is, am I focused on what I want most? And at the back of this card, we have got one reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is that we never direct our focus. We never concentrate our power. We never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular. And that is a quote by Tony Robbins. I'm going to read that again because I did fumble over that. So one reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is that we never direct our focus. We never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular. Now, I feel like this does relate to this card because sometimes we do everything, we feel really busy, and we are really busy, but we're busy doing things that make us feel busy, right? Rather than really focusing and honing in on what it is that's going to move the needle forward for us, what it is that's going to awaken our mind, body, and soul on a day-to-day basis, whether that's going for a little walk, whether that's cooking a nutritious meal for yourself, rather than having a million things on your to-do list that actually you don't need to do. Like if you are a business owner, do you really need to update your website again? Do you really need to sit and scroll on Instagram for hours on end to numb out? Or is there something else you can do to really focus your energy that contributes to what it is that you truly want? Okay. So the other bit on the back of this card is a soul action for the day. And this is what you focus on grows. Today, ask yourself, and you can journal on this, okay? Is my life a reflection of my values, or do I need to make some adjustments to my priorities? So I'll read that again. Is my life a reflection of my values, or do I need to make some adjustments to my priorities? And what I take away from that is, number one, write down what your values are, okay? What's important to you and why? And how much of that you're actually doing in your day-to-day life? Where can you make adjustments in your day-to-day, in your week, in your month, to actually live in line with your values? Because when we live in line with our values, that's when we get that true fulfillment, when we get that true happiness, when we get that true purpose. So I hope this landed with some of you today. This was a completely different style of episode for me. I'm normally someone that structures things and has a topic going into podcast before I hit record, but for some reason today I was just pulled to use these oracle cards. So I hope you enjoyed today. Let me know what you think. Either DM me on Instagram or simply pop me a comment if you're watching on YouTube. I'm going to put all of the details below, either on the podcast description or in the YouTube description, if you want to find out more about Collective Health UK, what I do, how you can work with me, how you can join our Soul Spark experience, and how you can join our free community. Then I will pop everything down in the descriptions for you. But I hope this landed with some of you, and I will see you very, very soon, or be in your ears very soon, for a brand new episode.